Hello there, Fit Pros. It's good to see you. I'm checking in. Yeah, looks like we are live. All right, good to see you. Kelly Coulter here. Um, I'm trying to get in the habit, y'all, of introducing myself and saying exactly what we are doing and giving a little intro to the episode so that we've just got a little record of what's going on. So today is July 23rd, and welcome to the Fit Pros Show live here on the Fit Pros Connect Facebook group. And make sure I'm in the right group. Yeah, I sure am. I have been guilty of broadcasting to the wrong group in the past. So during July, we've been talking about self-care. So specifically self-care for fitness instructors and personal trainers. So you guys know we are all guilty of burning the candle at both ends, of giving and giving and giving, and never filling up our cup. And as we all know, that can lead to some really disastrous and tough consequences at times. So, especially right now with the way the world is going, the way that we are all in a really stressful time, I thought it was really important for us to start kind of backing up. Let's focus a little bit on what we can do to start to care for ourselves a little better. So we've all been so worried about the fact that we've had complete income stoppage, the fact that our participants are not getting any sort of services in the way that they used to. We're worried about money, the future of our careers. There are just so many things. And so how do we back up and take a minute in order to say, hey, yes, all these things are going on and they're very stressful. And, I want to move forward and go in order to replace and make things as normal as possible. But how do I also back up and care for myself so that I can sustain anything that I'm able to build up so that I can function on all cylinders and keep going and not get burned out? So that's what we're talking about in July is what are the ways that we can care for ourselves? What can we do to stay at the top of our game without burning the candle at both ends and without just getting while still, what do I want to say? How do we keep going while also caring for ourselves in a way that is meaningful and sustainable, right? Right. So that's what we're talking about today. And during today's episode, I'm going to actually review for you all of the things that you have told me. So I have been throwing up a lot of polls in the group. I've been asking you guys open-ended questions and just doing everything that I can do to stimulate conversation about self-care, get you guys thinking about it, and then get you telling me what you're doing so that I can come back then to you and say, okay, here's what I'm seeing. You tell me that you're doing. Let's talk about them. So my hope is that you could walk away from today's episode with some extra thoughts, some extra things that might feel good to add to your daily routine. So before I get too far into this, let's talk about the importance of self-care. Let's talk about what it is and why it's important. And so I'd like to tell the story. I know I've told you guys this story before, but when my husband went on his first deployment, I can't say that I had a great self-care routine. I had a job that I went to every day. It was a big job. It was a stressful job. And I actually, when my husband deployed, I decided to quit teaching for that period of time. And I was just working. So I actually quit the one self-care piece that I think I was doing for myself. I quit because I had small kids I needed to take care of and didn't have my husband there to help. And so I quit. And so by the time he got home from that first deployment, what I found is that my cup was so empty. I had not done anything to fill my cup. I was giving, 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 giving. And I was no longer functioning, not even just like functioning well, but I was just no longer functioning. And that's the danger that we run into when we burn the candle at both ends, when we give and give and give and give. Or I've seen some people in the group talking about not even giving and giving and giving, but like fueling up, and like, how do we get our energy up and over the top and be, all that and more all the time. And they're never thinking about, when am I refueling? When am I resting? When am I filling my cup back up? And so there are a couple things there. So, we practice self-care in order to prevent burnout, because in our profession, we are expected to be up and on and inspiring and energetic, and all of the things that our participants want from us, all of the things that our personal training clients want from us, all the things that our bosses and our employers want from us. We need to do those. We need to be doing those things, and we need to be those things, right? So if we don't have a proper self-care routine, if we're not refueling, then we're going to run the risk of burning out, and burning out very quickly and in a big way, right? But the second thing is, I don't know, almost more important, and that is that when we do not practice self-care, then we run the risk of not operating at our highest cognitive ability, if that lands with you, not being able to function at our highest capacity. Another way to say that might be that we become reactive rather than taking time and having the ability to process what's coming at us. We become reactive. That might manifest itself in becoming jumpy, angry, jumping to conclusions, maybe not even angry, but reacting too quickly to things. So not taking time to think about a reaction and just coming in and jumping and going. And so the problem with that is that when you are constantly reacting, when we are constantly just going right away without processing or thinking, then are we making the best decisions? Are we making the right decisions? Are we using our strategic abilities? Are we really maximizing our capacity as professionals and as human beings? Are we really doing the best we can do when we are reacting, right? So self-care is really important because it allows us to slow down, to fill our cup back up so that we are not constantly reacting, and we are able to operate at a higher cognitive and intellectual capacity. So yeah, we may not be out there doing surgery, but we are still a super important part and piece of other people's lives, or a piece of other people's self-care routines. And so it's really important that you are at your highest level of ability, intellectually, cognitively. All right, so let me move on. So what exactly is self-care? So we have talked about this all during July, but I want to give you a really, really simple definition of what is self-care. And that is that self-care is anything that feels good to you and fills your cup. I think that's the simplest way to look at it. Anything that you can do that fills your cup and feels good. So self-care is those things that are just for you, that nurture you, that tell your mind and your body that things are okay, that we are safe, we are secure, we are taken care of, and that all is right with the world, right? Helps to bring us back into balance, bring us back into homeostasis. That's what self-care is. And that is why we practice it, because we are looking for that state of homeostasis. That's what your body is meant to do. Your body is built to look for that state of balance. And so we bring ourselves back into balance. We tell our mind and our body things are okay. We are safe and secure. There is no fight or flight needed right now. And then you're able to relax. You're able to process. You're able to calm down, stop reacting. And your body is less likely to want to go into a burnout kind of state or need a big shutdown at any one given time. So that's what we're talking about here. Self-care, doing something that feels good, something that is just for you, so that you can bring your body back toward homeostasis and give your body those signals that tell it that everything's okay. Everything's okay. You guys, what kind of questions do you have for me right now? So I see you in here, and I'm looking off to the side here because this is where my monitor is that has Facebook on it. And then I'm looking at my screen that has StreamYard and is pulling up, is broadcasting into Facebook. So when you see me look over here, I'm looking for your comments and your questions. You guys, I would love to hear from you. I could even, if you have anything to add to the conversation, I can even pull you in. I can invite you to come into StreamYard and we can talk about it. And you guys, please say hello, give me a like, give me a heart. This is such an important topic, and I would love for as many of the group members as possible to see us talking about this topic and to maybe get some ideas for their own routine. So the more that you guys give likes and hearts and check in and say hello and tell me where you're watching from, what is your favorite piece of your self-care routine, love for you to add that into the comments. And that is really going to help other people to see our discussion today. Okay, so I have I've kind of listed out everything that you guys gave to me as ways that you are caring for yourself, especially right now during these really stressful times that we're going through. And so I've broken them up into 3 major categories. And of course, some of them overlap a little or a whole lot. But we've really got 3 major categories of self-care, and that is things that we do for our bodies, things that we do for our minds, and things that we do for our spirit, right? So with things that we do for our minds, sometimes, or I'm sorry, let's go to body first. So sometimes we look at the entire profession that we practice as being for our body. And so what we look at as our profession, other people outside the profession may look at as specifically self-care for their body, but we almost don't have that luxury because we are fitness professionals. And so, for example, the other day I talked about my self-care routine and the fact that I have a nice long, almost 2-hour workout routine every morning, right? And so I have this long routine, but is it really self-care when I'm a fitness professional and I kind of need to keep that level of fitness up and that level of professional expertise up? It almost doesn't become self-care. It's part of my work, right? And so I'm able to take that amount of time in the morning to work out because it is part of my profession. And also, it's no longer, it is self-care because I love it. And because by the end of that 2 hours, I'm too tired to be stressed out about anything. So I feel amazing. And I walk around all day going, oh my gosh, I had the best workout today. And everybody's like, could you shut up about your workouts? But it's not necessarily self-care. It's also part of my profession. It's pulling double duty. I think that's a great way to look at it. But let's talk about some other things outside of working out or outside of the classes that we teach and the personal training sessions that we do, and then the things that we do to keep up our own fitness. What are some other things that we do that are part of a self-care routine that that are really nourishing and that feed our soul and fill our cup. And you know what? Let me back up. Shama's saying, hey girl. And yeah, I know that is a little luxury to have 2 hours, and it's because I work for myself and because I work from home and I no longer have a commute where I have to go downtown, and because I am also practicing my skills and polishing some of the things that I teach online. So like I said, it does pull double duty, but it does feel really nice. I wanted to back up and say, no, I'll cover this at the end. Okay, so for the body, let's talk about cosmetic things. Outside of your workout routine, a lot of people really enjoy doing things like getting their nails done, getting their toes done, buying new makeup, trying out new lotions. And these are things that can become part of a routine or can be little special treats that are part of self-care. I really like to think of self-care as more than a special treat. I really want you to think of self-care in terms of a daily routine, and we'll talk a little bit about why at the end. But self-care really should be looked at, especially for fitness professionals, as a daily routine. And that is because, well, we'll talk about it at the end. So there could be things that you do maybe at the end of your shower or while you're getting ready to walk out the door in the morning that could just make you feel good. Every time my husband deploys, I always get a ton of these. People buy me these little stress relief lotions. And let me tell you, when I smell that, it makes me go, just relax a little. So there are, cosmetic things that you can do that can become an important part of a self-care ritual. For a lot of people, organizing. So I didn't see anybody in the group mention this, but for me personally, cleaning my house and getting things organized at the beginning of the day is part of a self-care routine. That's especially true if you live with anybody that is super high anxiety or that has maybe bipolar tendencies or anybody that really depends on stability to regulate themselves. Keeping an organized and clean environment can really help with just staying regulated. And so in that instance, organization and cleaning can become an important part of a self-care routine. And so I put that as part of the body piece because it's an external thing, right? There's a gnat in here. Okay, so also things that you can do to, let's talk specifically about our body. Things that you can do to manipulate. Let's talk about injury prevention. Things that you can do to manipulate your muscles. So outside of your workout routine, there are a lot of things that people mentioned in the group that they were doing before COVID that maybe they're not able to do now or not able to do as often. Things like reflexology appointments, chiropractic appointments, regular massages, things that work with the body's energy, like Reiki, like acupuncture. And so I would encourage you, if you are missing those type of appointments, if you're not able to get in there and do those because of what's going on with the quarantines, then you may want to check out YouTube or poll the group, see if there's anybody that does those things virtually. We suggested to Eileen the other day that maybe she does some sessions where we could pop in and she could teach us how to do some self-reflexology. But those type of physical manipulations are really important, not just because they help us to fill our cup mentally and they help us to relax, but also because manipulation of your muscles, manipulation of your energy fields can be very healing. And so in that way, you're filling your cup, you're improving your body's ability to come back into homeostasis. And that's what we're looking for with our self-care, right? Any questions or comments so far, please stick them in the group. If you are loving this stuff, please give me some love. Like I said, it always helps to get the show back out in the feed out to our other fit pros that maybe aren't watching right now. Okay, so some other things specific to the body. Healthy eating, of course. I think that was kind of a given, so I didn't see a lot of people mention it, but boy, it's really true. And I would add that if you have a healthy eating habit, if you have a way that you start off your day that really feeds your soul, it's really good to stick with that during these stressful times, because that habit can carry you through in really big ways. So healthy eating, a lot of us have a shake that we love in the morning. A lot of us have a specific lunch that we always eat. And then by the time we get to dinner, who knows what's going to happen at dinner time, but at least we've started off the day with 80% of our eating, or 70% or 60% or whatever it is, has been super clean and healthy. And that healthy food, of course, gets in there, rejuvenates, regenerates, helps your body maintain homeostasis, helps your mind stay focused and sharp. So a healthy eating routine is a huge part of some great self-care. And it's something that, some of us struggle with unhealthy eating or with craving. And if you look at things that you could kind of change about your day, you're going to have to eat no matter what. And so if there is a way to make some small changes that make that become a little bit healthier, and then you can bring that in as part of a self-care routine, and it's a really positive change that you could make quickly. I mean, you're gonna have to eat anyway, so it's great to maybe just switch some things out and get a little bit healthier, help your body out in that way, to come back to homeostasis and to be and feel cared for. Okay, so one that I noticed the other day was taking an old class that I loved and doing that again. So I used to take this yoga class on the Oxygen Network from Steve Ross. It was called Inhale, and they canceled it a long time ago. I mean, these classes are from like the early 2000s. Like everybody's wearing like this little baby doll shirts and like velvet chokers. So that's the period of time we're talking about. But Steve Ross is an amazing yoga instructor, and I love him. And so every once in a while, I will go out on YouTube or Daily Motion, and I'll find one of those classes and I'll do it. And he does yoga to R&B. So the music is so much fun. It's like TLC and Marvin Gaye. It's awesome. And then I'll take one of those and it just makes me smile. And so yes, I have a 2-hour workout routine in the morning, but sometimes I go out and do that, and it's definitely self-care because it's just fun. It fills my cup. It makes me smile. So taking a new class, having a new adventure, walking somewhere you haven't been before, running when you don't normally run, things like that can just energize you and kind of start to bring you back, right? So these are just some thoughts on the body side of things that maybe you could take a few of those and try them out and see if they don't help you to feel good and to fill your cup a little bit. So let's talk about things you can do for your mind and things that you guys are doing for your mind that you've told me you're doing for your mind as far as self-care. We started a reading list on the group. So I think it's the very top post when you go into the group. We started a reading list, and people are contributing some really great self-help type books. Atomic Habits was in there. That was the first one that I saw, and I think there are a few others by now. And so some of them go into the business type realm or the entrepreneur type realm, but entrepreneurs are huge on self-care because we get it. We get how important it is to be operating on all cylinders and not burning out, right? So those two things can definitely cross over at times. You guys, go add a book to that list. I think that can be an amazing resource for this group. So please go add your favorite inspirational, self-help, self-care, just nourishing kind of book, Brene Brown. Why am I blanking on other authors? Abraham Hicks, all that good stuff. Stick that in there. So in the same realm, education. A lot of us are using this time to get certified or recertified in modalities that we did not have before. SCW Live is this weekend. It's a really good price point. And also SCW streaming, which was supposed to be SCW Dallas, is going to be at the end of August, and you're going to hear a lot about that in the coming up month because I'm going to be interviewing a whole bunch of the staffers and presenters for SCW, and then I'll be speaking at SCW at the end of August. So education, we need it anyways. Now's a good time to do it. Do something crazy. Do something that you wouldn't normally have done before. And let me see. Oh, creative things. Yeah. So this is again one that I came up with for the list that I didn't see mentioned a lot, but a lot of us have some real creative tendencies that we tend to not be able to get to because of our regular jobs. So I actually graduated with a degree in studio art from the College of Charleston, and I have not painted, y'all, this is shameful, in 20 years. I have not painted anything. In 20 years, in 19 years, I did a painting for my son for his first birthday, and that's the last thing I painted. So I actually bought an easel during quarantine, and once the weather gets a little cooler, because you can't paint in South Carolina in the garage with the weather being so hot because the paint will get weird. So in the fall, I plan on starting to paint again, but pursuing some creative outlets can be very filling, very, very satisfying. And so that might be something to try, right? Something to try. Maybe it does not become part of your daily routine. Maybe it does. We'll see. All right. So connecting with old friends and family. I've seen a lot of people mention that. Calling up somebody that you haven't talked to in a while and saying, hey, I'm just checking on you. That's huge, right? That's almost an adventure at times when you call up somebody you haven't talked to in a while and you have a conversation and you get to hear how things are going for them, and you get to just kind of get outside of your own life and your own body for a few minutes. Can be super helpful, super nourishing. And all right, so, and then this last one, I think it sits between mind and spirit, right? It's a little bit of both. So I'm going to talk a little bit about meditation and self-hypnosis. Something I do a lot of. I use a lot of self-hypnosis. If you're in the virtual studio business accelerator program with me, I assign a YouTube hypnosis off of YouTube almost every single week because I do it all the time. I really believe in it. It's super rejuvenating to me. There is a guy on YouTube. His name is Joe T, and he does self-hypnosis. And you have to invest like a half an hour to an hour and a half in it, or you can do it at night before you go to bed. But I'll go in when I'm feeling really tired in the middle of the day. I will go in and I will lay down and put my headphones on, and I'll listen to one of these self-hypnosis tracks, and I'll pick it based on like how I would like to feel or what kind of things I might be like working on at that time. And so I turn on this self-hypnosis, right? And he starts talking, and then he'll say a few things, and then before I know it, I'm just gone. I have no idea what this guy says during his hypnosis sessions. So if you end up sending him a check after listening to him on my recommendation, then don't hold me responsible, because I'm warning you right now. I never thought I could be hypnotized. I never thought I could relax that much, but I go under, and he talks and talks and talks. And then as soon as he's done talking, I'm back up like this, and I'm energetic, and I'm happy, and I'm feeling good. It is amazing. So that's Joe T on YouTube, and I'll put a link up to maybe some of my favorites once we are done with this session. But yeah, self-hypnosis, y'all. If you've never tried it, good stuff. And it can really help you not only to come back into homeostasis, but to come to start to retrain some of the neural pathways in your brain that have maybe started to go in a way that you don't want them. So if you're feeling like you're thinking negative thoughts a lot, you can do some self-hypnosis and some meditation, and you can actually start to retrain your brain so that you're not thinking so negatively, and you're starting to feel and think in the way that you want to feel and think. So that's what I love about self-hypnosis. And I think that's what I love in general about like having a self-care routine, is that you're putting the focus on how you want to feel, how you should feel, rather than letting the world lead you around by the nose and kind of feeling however it turns out that you feel throughout the day, right? You're getting in front of it and being proactive and training yourself to feel good, happy, protected, safe ahead of whatever happens throughout your day. Does it make sense? Okay, let's move on. I'm checking your comments over here, so that's why you see me looking over here. You guys, add anything you want. Let me know if you've got questions as well. All right, I know a lot of you are catching this after the fact. But even when you catch these recordings after the fact, if you're watching them in the feed, you can still pop a comment in and other people will see it, because the way that these normally work, these sessions that we do on the group, is that I'll talk for 45 minutes or so, and we'll have like anywhere from 5 to 50 people watch live. But by the end of the day, and then by the end of the week, there's like 200, 300, 400 people that watch. So your comments are still going to be seen and are still part of the discussion, even if you are not watching live. So please pop your suggestions and your comments in there, because they will be seen by other Fit Pros, and it's super helpful. Okay, so along the same lines of that meditation hypnosis, which I said kind of sits between mind and spirit, I think prayer can be the same way. I think it can be rejuvenating for your mind because it's relaxing, because you are thinking through things, but it's very much about connecting to something higher than yourself, something bigger than yourself, whatever you believe is the higher power that is kind of running things, then that is your time to connect to that, to get outside of yourself and feel and be in congress with something more, something bigger. So that's what the goal of these spiritual self-care routines is. So prayer, meditation, hypnosis, journaling, taking some time to write. Again, it sits between spirit and mind. It depends on what your goal is for that time while you're journaling. Some people journal in order to change the way that they're thinking about things or start to control the way that they feel and think about things. Some people journal to document what's going on in their day. Some people journal in order to plan. Some people journal in order to visualize what they might like to do or see or be in the future. So it depends on the purpose. And then there are other modalities. We were supposed to have Stephanie on Tuesday that was going to talk a little bit about shamanic, and I'm hoping to have her on in September. So I won't talk too much about shamanic, but I will say this, as I really began to focus on my self-care, I met Stephanie, and it sounds weird. This is not a weird thing, I promise. She owns Bronxville Wellness Sanctuary in Manhattan. And she's a shamanic healer, meaning that I'm going to let her describe it. Anyways, I know what she's done with me. She's done a few sessions with me over the phone, and she senses kind of your energy, what's going on with you. And then she kind of gets you real relaxed. Maybe you're hypnotized or maybe not. I don't know. And then she takes you on like a journey, like she gives you some visual cues to think about, right? And what I've found every time I've done it with her is that those visual cues led me to like memories or places in my memory that were very healing. And it felt like 5 years of talk therapy. It felt like 5 years of seeing a counselor in just a couple sessions. You just tend to go somewhere that you don't really go with a counselor, and you just make a whole bunch of progress, and it's very healing. So there are modalities like shamanic, like Reiki, like some other kind of energy work that can be extremely healing, bring your body back to homeostasis, help you to function at those higher cognitive abilities, and just help you to feel more safe and secure and just function as a well-rounded fitness professional and human being. All right, so that is what I have for you guys. Delia is saying, I'm starting the journal and I need to meditate. Delia, I would love to hear more about what your focus is with journaling. Like, are you just going to do kind of like a stream of conscious thing where you just kind of write whatever is in your heart, or do you have a specific goal that you're going to journal because I want to, X, Y, Z. So I don't know if we'll be able to get into that during the show today, but you can direct message me. You and I talk all the time, so I would love to hear about that. And so the last thing that I wanted to say is that I want you to think about your self-care in terms of it being a routine. So rather than thinking of self-care as a treat, a lot of us tend to think of these things that we might do for self-care as a prize or a treat. Like I'm gonna treat myself because I did XYZ this week. It's important to have a routine, and that doesn't have to be 2 hours in the morning like mine is. Mine was not always 2 hours. Mine was 0 for a very long time. So now it's 2 hours because I'm making up for all the 0 time, right? But it is important to have something, even if it's 5 minutes. Even if it's 5 minutes, it makes a difference. If you get up in the morning and the first thing you do is you grab your phone and you start scrolling through Facebook, you are immediately letting the world tell you how to feel today. And that's the difference that a good self-care routine can make for you. It's the difference between the world telling you how to feel and the world telling you what to think and how to react, or you intentionally taking control of how you want to think and feel and react. Because let me tell you, the world is selling you the worst case scenario. The media is out there selling you, the biggest, highest, most reactive, most shocking stories that it can find. So do you want those to inform how your whole day goes? Or do you want to be intentional on how your day goes? Do you want to fill your cup first? Feel your body come into homeostasis, feel yourself feel strong and relaxed and able to process, able to function on a higher level? Or do you want to let just the messages of the world come in first? So I encourage you to consider some sort of daily self-care routine, even if it's 5 minutes, and I encourage you to consider trying to make that self-care routine happen first thing in the morning, because that way you're getting out ahead of your day. So the last thing that I'll say is that when my husband went on his second deployment, we talked about his first deployment and that he came home and that I was just completely not functioning, right? But the second deployment was very different. I had a really solid routine that I was in and that I did every day. And that routine, because it was habit, really carried me through in a different way. And I was able to function and come through that stressful time in a way so that when he came home, I was prepared for him to come home and I was prepared to help him reintegrate back into everyday life in a totally different way. And so having a self-care routine that is habit, that habit will carry you through even in times when you don't even realize how much you're relying on that self-care routine and how much you need that. It will carry you through so that you come out the other side of some really stressful situations in a healthier, more well-rounded state. And that is my experience with that. Ooh, and Delia just mentioned one that is huge: gratitude. Gratitude, yes. Gratitude, I think, and that's another one that kind of straddles mind and spirit. A practice of listing what you're grateful for and knowing what your gratitude points are, it can help you to retrain the neural pathways in your mind that get worn down and they start to we start to go very quickly from one place to another place because we've got these really well-trained neural pathways in our head. And when we practice gratitude, we can kind of start to retrain that and start to look at things in a more positive way. So that one's huge. Thank you for that, Delia. Okay, you guys, that is what I have for you today. We do a lot of, this felt a little bit like a mindset session, right? And I just want to mention that we do a lot of these mindset sessions in the Virtual Studio Business Accelerator. If that is something that you're interested in, if you're working on your virtual studio, just contact me. I'm not going to pitch you on that or anything today, but if that is the kind of guidance or mentorship or help or education that you're looking for, I can definitely give you more information about it. Other than that, we've got the Go Virtual and Get Paid Challenge going on right now in a separate group, and it's going really, really well. You can register for that at virtualstudionow.com, and you just go to the top and click on Go Virtual and Get Paid Challenge, and you can register there. I would love to have you there. We've got a really lively group. They're asking a lot of great questions, and they're making progress toward replacing the income that they've lost from these quarantines. So I'm excited to see it happen. And next week, you'll start to see me interviewing a lot of the SCW staffers and presenters, and we'll be moving forward with that kind of SCW takeover for a little bit. And I'm so excited to conduct those interviews and talk to everybody. And we'll just be moving forward from there. All right, y'all. Love you. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the group.